Cool. Hi. So like I said, I'm Amy. I'm really excited to be here. And I'm excited because I get to talk to you guys about something that I really care about. One of the things that I love the most about the world that we work in today is that thanks to the internet, many of us can do our jobs from anywhere. But while the ability to work from anywhere is amazing, if you've done it for any length of time, you know that it's got its downsides. Remote work can be challenging, both for the remote worker and for the distributed team that they're a part of. But if you can make it work, the payoffs are so huge. You can, that's me remote working in Italy a couple years ago. It was pretty okay. So yeah, if you can make a distributed team work, you can live wherever you want, you can travel whenever you want, and you can work with awesome people from all over the world. That is my good-looking team. Some of them are actually sitting in the front row here, just to embarrass them, because I'm embarrassed, because I'm in front of all of you guys. So I want to see the world be a better place for remote workers and for the teams that support them. I'm going to talk a little bit today about what I've learned over the last 4 years as a remote worker, both from my personal experience and also as a person who's kind of had the privilege of helping build and shape what has grown to become a really awesome distributed team that is committed to make and passionate about making remote work work. So I'm going to go over a little bit of my story. I'm actually not going to go back this far, but I needed a kitten slide, and that's me in the middle. So 1986. It's good hair. All right. So instead, let's actually go back about 5 years ago. The first few members of the And Yet team at that point were working together in a really tiny little office in Richland, Washington. We were a super close-knit team. We were working in that office every day, having a blast. I loved that office. I loved the people that I worked with. The work that we were doing was interesting and awesome, and I was crazy about the people that I got to do it with. There was just one fatal flaw. Even though And Yet was basically my dream job, and it was located in my hometown, a hometown which, like any ambitious, kind of misfit, definitely cliched young person, I had always planned on leaving. I found myself at a crossroads. Do I stay at this job that I love, with these people who are awesome, doing the stuff that I really enjoy, or do I follow my other dream and move to a big city? Wait a second, what if I could do both? Could we make that work? And it was with that thought that the story of And Yet as a distributed team began. About 4 years ago, I moved to the city of Portland, Oregon. I'm sure there's a lot of people from there here today, maybe? Yeah, thank you. I knew it. Because Portlanders are everywhere, and we're awesome. So yeah, 4 years ago, I moved to Portland, Oregon, leaving the Richland office behind. Shortly after, another coworker moved to Idaho, and we officially began our journey as a distributed team. It was tough. I was really lonely. I missed watching my coworkers play weird pranks on each other. I missed all of that kind of stuff, like way more than I ever thought I would. If I was working on a solar project, I would sometimes go days or even a full week without having any other real contact with any of my teammates. Like, there was weeks where I would have more interesting conversations with the barista at the coffee shop around the corner than I would with a coworker. It was the pits. So sure, we had team chat and everything like that, but a majority of the fun and even some of the important stuff that was happening on our team was still happening mostly offline. So the distance felt more than physical. It felt like the remote workers and I were over here, and our team was over here, and we didn't know how to bridge that gap. The pain and the fear of missing out was very real for everybody on both sides. Our positive team dynamic, though, was still one of everyone's favorite parts of working at And Yet, but maintaining that positive vibe became a lot hard on a larger team, and now across long distances, it was getting increasingly challenging just to maintain that sense of togetherness. And just like I had felt like I had found the perfect job in the wrong town, we kept finding the perfect people to work with who lived in the wrong time zones. So how could we expand that positive in-office experience to include all these people who just couldn't physically make it into that office every day? We found ourselves asking questions like, what is it that makes this place such a great place to work? How can we replicate those things in a remote environment? And how can we make sure that a coworker in Poland, Philadelphia, or Denver feels just as important and included as the person the next desk over? We had to take a hard look at how we did a lot of things across the team, but we also had to ask ourselves why. The new team structure kept exposing a lot of flaws in how we did a lot of the interpersonal things on our team. See, when your team is distributed, it really puts a lot of things about your team, like your communication style, your project management style, your relational culture. It puts all of that stuff under a microscope. Something about having everything spread out all over the internet just exposes any cracks and makes those things more apparent. I feel like it's especially bad if you're spread out over multiple time zones. It makes it all just so much more challenging. But we were hell-bent on conquering these challenges. Slowly but surely, we actually got more consistent about putting important information in accessible places, bringing the entire team together on video calls, and finding creative ways to help team members make more meaningful connections with each other. The more connections we were able to make with each other, the better things got, and not just for remote people, for everybody. Now, 4 years later, more than 1/3 of our 30-person team is remote, spanning 9 time zones in 4 countries, and things are actually pretty great. In fact, we've gotten so much better about making our office life remote, or remote-friendly, that several people from our Richland office, our main office, actually choose to work from home a couple of days a week. But all of this, it didn't happen overnight. We logged a lot of hard work and a lot of long discussions, trials and errors, and everything like that along this journey. And nothing that we did, or nothing that we do, is revolutionary or extraordinary. There's nothing magic about and yet. Just like Disneyland isn't really magic, it feels magical, but the experience is really just the result of a lot of careful planning and engineering decisions. At and yet, like Disneyland, we work to create magical feeling experiences for each other. There is no magic. Anything magical that anyone has ever felt walking through the doors at And Yet is a direct result of a lot of small, non-magical actions called choices. And that is what I'm going to share with you today. Our small, non-magical choices that add up to a big, magical feeling workplace. And that change can start now. Actually, one of the most important choices that you can make towards improving the happiness and health of your team is just one that you can actually make right now. I don't care what your title is or how long you've been at your current company, you are a leader. Everyone in here, if you chose to show up to Cascadia today, you're a leader. And as a leader, you have to choose to make the health, happiness, and positivity of your team a priority. Your actions towards your coworkers can have tremendous impact on your team's dynamic, for good or for bad. If you commit to working on this, it will help everything else. Your goals, your productivity, all of that will fall into place. There's actually studies that show that. So we think that this is the most important choice that you can make. Really, just choosing to make this a priority will actually help your team dynamic. Building and maintaining an awesome team is everyone's job. The people responsible for making all of these small, non-magical choices that lead to a positive workplace are not just CEOs, managers, or HR personnel. It's all of you. It's anyone on your team who interacts with another worker on your team. So let's talk about some of the common problems that our teams face, especially remote teams, and then we can talk about how to help those people. So, communication is a struggle. It can be hard to find the information that they need. They often feel overlooked and like they don't have a voice. They feel out of sync with the rest of the team. The fear of missing out and the pain of missing out are real. And if you're remote, you know what I'm talking about. Like, it can be really hard sometimes if everyone at your main office is doing something really exciting and really fun, and you're like working from your couch or something, and nothing cool is happening at your house. It can leave you feeling alone and forgotten. The core problem, if you think about it, the core problem to a lot of these things, what's the core problem? Like, what is it that causes all of this misery? If you look closely, it's a lack of connections. It all comes down to these much-needed connections. Connection is why we're here. It's what gives us purpose and meaning in our lives. Those words are from Brené Brown, and if you've not seen her TED Talk on vulnerability, I suggest that maybe you watch it this evening. It's really great. Yeah, thank you. So the more that we solved remote workers' problems, the more we realized that they were actually potentially everybody's problems. When it comes to remote versus non-remote workers, the line between us and them is actually a lot thinner than we originally thought. In fact, it barely exists. Any struggles that you are facing with your remote team members are just a reflection of larger connection breakdowns on your team as a whole. We all as individuals, we are all individuals, and if we don't actively seek to connect with the people on our team, it doesn't matter how close or far we are physically. Everybody is remote. Your team might look like this on the outside. It might look like a lot of people working together to make a really sweet pyramid on a lake. But your team's really made up of a bunch of these. Your team is made up of a bunch of small individual islands that are connected to each other. Physical proximity can make us feel closer than we actually are. This is a luxury, of course, that only people in the main office have. But okay, so imagine that this is a team. If this was your team, it's not very connected. Think about how much the connections that your team has is essentially the strength of your team. So if this is what your team looks like, if you're not very connected, there's all these holes, stuff's gonna fall through the cracks. It's not very strong. If you're super connected, you have this amazing web that's gonna catch stuff. It's strong, it's secure. I don't know about you, but if I was jumping out of a burning building, I would not want to jump into this team's arms. I would want to jump into this team, right? Proximity without connection is useless. Being a distributed team has actually forced us to get better at a lot of the important practices that proximity had let us be lazy about. And I'm about halfway through my talk, so I'm going to take a puppy break. Okay. If you're not following Marnie, the dog, on Instagram, you're really missing out. Okay, so now that we're all happy, we've had some puppy time and some donut time, which is totally what I'm going to go find after this. Let's get back to it. Since most of these remote team problems stem from a lack of connection, let's talk about how we can make those connections happen for our teams. The core things that we have found extremely helpful as we have tried to improve our distributed team dynamic are these. Put people first. Find and focus on the things that unite you. Connect on a regular basis. Have fun together. And this is a bonus tip. This isn't really a philosophy, but it's definitely a pet peeve of mine. Put everything important in a place where the whole team knows where to find it. So now that we've gone over those, let's dive a little bit deeper. Put people first. At Amjet, we always like to say that we are a people-first company. Oh. One second. There we go. Okay. Put people first. Your coworkers matter. Your relationship with your coworkers matters. You spend 40 hours a week with these people. You're working towards the same goals. who else in your life are you spending 40 hours a week with working towards the same goals? These people are important. We talk a lot about in life how work is not the most important thing. I agree with that. However, the people that you work with are a different story. People matter. You can not care about your job, but you can't not care about your coworkers. That's just not how life gets to work. This gives you a tremendous amount of power in each other's lives. Projects, clients, and technologies, they'll all come and go. Who you are as a group is what will hold you together in times of uncertainty and strife. As wonderful as And Yet is, we have had our struggles. We had someone once steal a ton of money from us, like someone we were really close to. We've lost clients. We had projects fail so hard that our future was uncertain. But in all of the times that we've had that have been tough, the thing that has held us together, even when you could just see the look of fear on people's faces, was that we know who we are as a team. And we know what we stand for, we know what we value, and we know that we are committed to getting through stuff together. And that leads me to my next point. Find and focus on the things that unite you. If location doesn't unite you, you really need to find and focus on the things that do. Share your values. Share your goals. Not just your big team goals, but your personal goals. And also, your work goals should not only be project related. Who are you working, what are you working towards as a team? Who do you guys want to be together? Figuring that out and proclaiming it and writing it down and putting it somewhere where you can all look at it whenever you need to, that is such a powerful unifying tool. Knowing who you are together is incredibly unifying. Share your triumphs and your struggles. Be vulnerable. Something that we do that is our most vulnerable practice probably is we do something that we call deeper daily check-ins. I think a lot of you are probably familiar with the concept of doing a daily check-in where you talk about what you've done with your day. This is like that. We talk about what we've done, task-wise, but we also go a little bit deeper. We talk about things that are going on in our lives. This is where people talk about if they are sick and they have to get surgery, or if they are excited because they just found out they're going to have a grandbaby. This is where a lot of the life of our team actually happens, is in these deeper daily check-ins. It allows us to share our triumphs and our joys in a public place and cheer for each other and commiserate with each other and lift a hand if someone says, hey, I'm depressed. Someone else can lift their hand and say, me too. It's really powerful. It's probably one of the most powerful things that actually we've done to unify our team as a remote team. Because it lets us see that everyone that we're working with, even if we can't interact with them, they're all human. It lets us see how it humanizes everybody on the team. And that is so important when you're trying to work through problems together. Communicate well with kindness and respect. It's not just enough to communicate, but how you communicate matters. Handle bad news with extreme care. Prioritize conflict resolution. Watch your tone. Seriously, edit your emails for tone. People tend to read things more negatively than you meant them when you write them. So keep that in mind and edit for it. Have you guys heard of an account on Twitter called Faces and Things? If not, I highly recommend checking it out. It's at FacePics, in case any of you are in need of a little bit of distraction right now. So when we see something like this that looks like a human face, the facial recognition parts of our brains actually light up. Who didn't look at that and not see a smiley face? Right? In fact, they light up just like if you were seeing an actual human face making a similar expression. This is a scientific phenomenon called pareidolia. And basically, it's your new cool scientific excuse to use emoji in a professional setting. So when you can't be there, when your face can't be there to show somebody how you feel, send one of these guys in its place. As goofy as it sounds, it really does actually, it can soften a lot of blows. It can really just like add a little bit more punch to some encouragement that you're trying to give somebody. Use emoji. It's science. If I leave you with nothing else, I hope that this is what you all take home from this talk. I want to see a lot of emoji on Twitter. You can tweet at me, straight emoji. I will love that. Okay, so now we've got all of the heavier stuff out of the way and the scientific stuff out of the way. Express your gratitude to each other. Give high fives, real or virtual, and often. Do it in team chat. Do it on Twitter. If you're proud of one of your coworkers, like my friend Jen Turner. Oh, look, she's talking about me giving a talk at Cascadia, and here I am doing it. So anytime that one of your coworkers does something awesome, shout it from the rooftops. Like, it's so encouraging to know the people that you're working with are supporting you. So thanks, Jen. She's in the front row. So it means a lot. Connect on a regular basis. Connect on a regular basis about more than just work. Put it on your schedule. If you don't schedule these connections, it's really hard to squeeze them in between all the deadlines and all of the projects. One of the most powerful things that we have found for scheduling connection time is one-on-ones. And we don't just do your standard managerial one-on-ones. We actually do something that we call peer-to-peer one-on-ones. So a peer-to-peer one-on-one is like a managerial one-on-one in that there's only two people in it, but they're not necessarily talking about work, at least not about like their priorities. They talk about how stuff's going. They talk about what they're excited about. They get to know somebody else on the team on a better, deeper level. And a lot of times they get to find this just crazy stuff that they have in common. And some of the coolest ideas that we have actually had for team connectivity have come out of conversations that have happened in our peer-to-peer one-on-ones. Aside from the deeper daily check-ins, this is a practice that I think is probably done like the most for us. Video chat your little hearts out. This is Jenna. She's also in the front row. We video chat a lot at Anjet now. It's pretty incredible. Let's see. Just click through a few slides of us video chatting. This is our design team hangout. We video chat. We try to do as much as we can via video because it really it just really helps us feel connected. It's kind of like that whole pareidolia thing. We're seeing faces, and that's really powerful, and we're getting to connect to people even though we're not in the same room. Sometimes it almost feels like we're on some sort of like closed circuit reality television show. Like we have cameras set up all over the office. It's crazy. Create structures for spontaneous connections, show and tells, Friday updates, ongoing team chat, like Slack if you haven't used it. We love it. Have fun together. Do cheesy icebreakers. We actually have a Slack channel on our team that is just for icebreakers. People post ridiculous questions, and then people in the team answer them. It's a lot of fun. It's like a nice way that you can make some lighthearted connection with your team members. Find ways for remote people to join in at the office. Again, like I said, we have a ton of cameras all over the place. We have them like in the break room. We have them in the kitchen area. Anywhere that like people will just sit and hang out. We have a camera there so that remote people can call in and just be like, "Hey guys." Inside jokes. Inside jokes are awesome. Team chat is a great place to start those. We call ourselves Yetis. Anything that you can do to kind of make yourselves like a tribe or like have your own jargon is really unifying and fun. We call ourselves Yetis, and going back again to pareidolia and emoji, if you guys think that this guy's cute, I have stickers of him, so come talk to me afterwards. Do hangouts just to hang out. Get together in real life. The point is, there is no magic that creates a great team. There are just a lot of people waking up every day and choosing to work towards great things together. How well do you know your teammates? How could you create more meaningful connections with the people that you work with on your team? Anything that we can do, you can do better. you can probably come up with some ideas that would blow anything that we've ever done out of the water. I want to hear all about what works for your teams. I want to hear about what you're wanting to try. You're all leaders. You're all creative. You are all completely capable of bringing a magical feeling into your workplace. Be intentional. Be creative. Be kind. Be respectful. Be vulnerable. Listen. And have fun. Thank you.